We are only a few weeks into the new school year, and we've already seen changes because of COVID. The number of students and staff in quarantine and in isolation is going up for many districts. Kaylee Kirby speaking with two superintendents about the numbers, joining us live in studio tonight. Kaylee, does this have any impact on how many days our kids go to school?
Yeah, Jeff, it could if there are too many people in quarantine or isolation and not enough staff to teach a class in person. But there are also other factors that school leaders have to consider this year with COVID that they didn't really have to deal with last year.
We began this school year kind of on an uptick. So we were seeing more cases beginning to happen in the community and in the schools than we had seen probably in the prior 6 months.
In the third week of kids back in the classroom, Perrysburg schools had 19 students test positive for COVID-19 and more than 130 exposed. Superintendent Tom Hostler says numbers like these weren't seen until November of last year. Meanwhile, Chris Lake, the superintendent at Swanton Local Schools, says the district's COVID cases are relatively low, with only one person testing positive.
I have a handful of kids who are in quarantine because they've been exposed outside of school, and a handful of kids who are waiting on test results because they just haven't felt good.
Both superintendents are expecting numbers to increase, but say the positive news is that COVID-19 isn't new. They dealt with this last year and have a system in place to help keep students in the classroom full time. Ultimately, the last thing they want to do is make drastic changes to the learning environment.
Masking, more distancing, maybe alternating days, that begins to impact the classroom. It may mean, taking those kind of steps, but we're going to try to do everything we can with all the tools that we have before we would get to changing school schedules.
Hostler says there's no set metric to determine whether a school needs to go remote or hybrid, although staffing and the number of people out are two big factors. Both superintendents say they continue to remind their families that the vaccine and wearing a mask are the best way to keep your kids in school. Stick around tonight at 6. I'll dig into a little more how districts are going about contact tracing. In studio tonight, Kaylee Kirby, WTOL 11.